Right guys, here we are, we're back in Virtual Pool 4 online, and we have another match in this year's VP4 World Straight Pool Championship. This is a one-loss side match. We'll have a quick look at the bracket. There's a few results have come in since the last match I done, matches that have been arranged and played, and we can see that over on the winner's side we're waiting in the match of the tournament, which will be Frankel and Semi-Pro, and I think they've got until January the 9th to get that match arranged, so that's about another 6 days they've got. If we look at the one loss side, there's a few matches been played there as well on the catch-up, and the match we're interested in tonight is this match in round 5 on the one loss side, between Markshark and Larry. I think Markshark's Germany, Larry's from the States. It's going to start in about 4 or 5 minutes time in a race to 100, and there's a long way to go yet in the tournament. We can see DJ Simon has come through in his last match against Tin, and we also see that Snake Eyes has come through against Vinces. And further up the bracket we have Romario through to the next round in the one loss side, and he beat Seni in his last match. So there's a few results going to have to take place to catch up the tournament, and there's not really an awful lot going to be happening in the winner's side until matches are arranged. So Baker Maker is set to play Acero, and of course the one we mentioned was Frankel against Semi-Pro, so they won't be in any rush to get their matches played. They've got plenty of time yet, plenty of time to get some practice in. This bloody bracket does my head in. Right, so let's just double check. I think the two players are here. Larry's just arrived, and Markshark's been in a room on his own in practice. Oh, Markshark's from the States. I thought he was from Germany. Nope. So we'll get two guys from the United States going to fight it out. Now, it's very difficult to judge how this match will go. I mean, I know Larry is going to be attacking at pretty much every opportunity he can. And I don't know how Larry lost his last match. Let's have a look at the bracket. Let's see now, where the hell's Larry on this bracket? And was it Baker Maker that beat Larry? Who put Larry to the one loss side? I thought it was Baker Maker. I cannot see him on the bracket. Oh no, there he is. No, it's Franco. Why did I think it was Baker Maker? Yeah, Larry didn't really get into the game in that match against Franco, so he's obviously, what did he win a match in the one loss side as well? He must have. Let's have a look. It's been that long since I've looked at the bracket, I've forgotten half the results. Right. And Markshark got through by forfeit against Supermalt. Right, so this match has a 20-minute timeout, believe it or not, as far as I can remember from the tournament information. So there's about 2 minutes to go. Just wondering whether they'll be in a rush to get in the room and get it started. Markshark, if I was going to give him advice, well, it would be to keep it tight and only take risks when you need to take risks, and do the obvious things you should do in straight pool. That's get rid of your blocking balls and take the balls that are in the open, and then take the opportunity to move balls when you need to, or when the opportunity arises, rather than taking undue risks and locking the cue ball up. So we wait and see what happens. Now the other thing to check before we start is to check my little doodle, make sure it's working, change the colour. Well, that's working okay, and then the only other thing to check is to make sure the chat's working okay. So anybody out there, whether you're watching on Twitch or whether you're watching on YouTube, both the chats should be mixed and appear on screen so that you can actually see what either of you is saying, depending on what stream you're watching, whether you're watching it on Twitch or YouTube. And it also helps me to know that it's actually working. So I don't know whether anybody's out there, but at least say hello if you are. And we've got, in fact, let me just double check it is configured right. It should be. Yeah, everything's set so that it should show on my screen. But there must not be anybody out there yet. So the room should be going up any second. And of course the most important part in any straight pool match, and there the room is up, I'm going to dive in straight away. The most important part is the lag, because you don't want to be breaking off in straight pool. So both players are in, and both players are going to lag off, and I'm guessing that that's Larry on the left as we look. I haven't really got a clue. That's going to be close. Well, Larry has won the lag, and of course Larry is going to pass the break to Markshark. Of course, very difficult to get a good break in straight pool and try and keep it safe, and a scratch straight away puts Markshark on -1. Larry with ball in hand behind the head string, and well, if he just runs through on the 1 ball, he can come back up the table for the 3. Or he can take the 3 and maybe land in the 5. There's not a lot there to be had at the moment. He's landed on the 10. Let's have a look. And now he's going to be breaking balls here. Try and move stuff around early on. Well, he's freed up 2 or 3. Can take the 3. Needs an angle on that 9 ball to get back up the table though. The 9 ball on the top rail. Doesn't want to finish dead straight on it. And of course the other thing, as I keep reminding people, when you're playing straight pool, always keep an eye on that pack of balls and check if anything's set. And this will have to be a good positional shot here from this 9. If he's going to run out and around, he's playing for the 8 ball or the 14. Now what's the angle like he's got there? Well, he may well be able to, I don't know whether he can just run across and leave himself on the 14. It's a bit of a tight angle to try and do that. He might try and squeeze between it, but this could go wrong. The angle he's got here is not perfect to get on the next ball. So that's why he's digging down. And of course, while Larry's potting these balls, he's running out of balls to actually break into this pack. He has to move something. And I think he's just on that 15. It's a bit tight, but he might be able to nudge something here. He might even need to put a feather of English on that to get round to 4 to get that. Now, he might be able to do it. Well, hasn't really changed the situation there. He's now running out of opportunities. Now, he could go for a very aggressive 6 ball into the left middle, but that's a dicey cut and risky to play at this stage. But the best thing to do is to pick off what you can and then run for safety. It's not necessary to take risks early on. And Larry now has got the perfect angle on this 6 ball. He could take the 7 and run through and still take the 6 into the middle and break the balls that way as well. So he has 2 choices how he goes about it. But he's going for the top end. And now he's out of line slightly. And if he takes the 11, he's running away down the table. And of course, the other thing is, we're looking for a break ball if he's going to continue this run. And neither of those 2 balls at the middle of the table there are going to count, because I think they're both in the triangle. Yep. So he could look to break the pack off the, I think that's a 12 ball in the top rail there, behind the pack, which is never the best place to try and break the balls, and or off the 4 off the side rail. That's what he's going to have to do, I think, because he's got no other option other than to clear these 2 balls out the triangle. He's gone too far. So now it's going to be a cut in the 2, and more than likely the 4 down the rail, and then leave an angle on that 12 to try and catch the corner of the pack to break something out. If he runs right into the back of the pack, he'll probably lock onto the pack and be on nothing. So he has to get an angle on that 12 ball. So around the angles and down the table here, and then on that 4. And the straighter the better, because now he's got an angle. He's got to probably force this in to maybe try and run over the other side, in the left hand side of the 12. I don't know whether he's going to have a good angle from the angle he has here, because see this is him. He's leaving himself high. And that's a bit too high for comfort's sake. And now the danger is just running right into the middle of that pack and locking up. So this is important. That's very tight. And he's caught the corner of the pack. Now, how's his luck? Well, it is not very good. He kept the cue ball free by hitting the corner of the pack rather than the back of the pack. Excuse me, and now he's left with a very dicey 8 ball if he's going to try and cut that along the rail. and he can't see the 7. The 3's going nowhere. The 5 isn't potable anywhere, and he's thinking on possibly a safety here. Try and thin the 9 and come back in behind that bunch of balls. Well, that was poor by Larry, because he had the perfect opportunity to run off the 9 and try and get back here. There would have been no damage done, but he's played a loose safety. And all Larry's hard work might be to no good here. A chance for Markshark to respond. And we'll see how his thinking goes. Because once again, there's 3 or 4 balls there for the taking. And he doesn't need to try and do anything elaborate. Now, he may well be able to nudge them here off this 6. And a nice little double kiss in the 5 helps. Well, I think I'd have been happier hitting that a wee bit harder to get on that 2 ball. He's got a cross table 1 ball. And now would be the perfect opportunity to get rid of that 7, because he would certainly be on the 11. And he's way off the mark with that. He should have taken the 7, because the 7 has to be taken at some point, and it's just sitting there doing nothing where it is. And Larry trying to improve the situation. Let's have a look what we have here. Well, we've got a combo there, but that 8 ball's in the way. Yeah, Markshark should have taken the 7 and a little run through, and he would have had a choice of those 2 balls that were sitting there. Now Larry's got the same problem to deal with. He's got the 3 balls locked in the left rail, and the 2 balls in the open plus the 7 stuck in the rail on the right hand side. So it doesn't look as if Larry's going to be scoring an awful lot off this visit. But having said that, it still allows him to build up his score. Markshark's response was just a run of 6 to take him out the minus. Once again, Larry being aggressive, trying to improve the situation. And Markshark has simply got to score. If he's getting opportunities, he has to be scoring. He can't be just frittering away his opportunities. He has to keep on Larry's coattails here. Now once again, he can run through off the side rail and come out and try and get on that 8 ball and maybe run through onto the 14 and the 9, or preferably he might just leave it as a combo. Well, he's going for the combo now, by the look of it, but once again, where's his break ball? Well, the 14 looks decent enough as a break ball. He's certainly got his work cut out from here on in, because the 7's absolutely nowhere. Now, can he take that and hit that cue ball off the point? Yes, he can. And he's got to watch his pace, because the cue ball should be coming across this way. And of course he's missed the actual 7 altogether. Well, that's a poor one. And he's left himself far too far over there anyway. So Markshark, again, only scoring 3. Well, Larry's going to have to use a fair bit of pace here if he's going to work this cue ball. So just the safety. So Larry leading by 19 points to 8. That's always a risky shot to play. You've got to get the pace right, and you've got to get that little bit of spin for the cue ball to hold on to the top of the pack. And straight away Larry enticed into going for the bank. And the mistake's been made. The scratch. And Markshark has ball in hand, and he has a choice here off the 14. The 2 is a bit thinner and a bit further away from the left pocket, but Mark's got the angle. Well, he's looking at the 11, but the 11's way too tight. Well, he's gone full-blooded for the 2, and the 2's gone in, and balls are now, well, I say in the open, but we've still got a cluster gathered. But once again, he doesn't need to worry about the cluster. If he gets good on the 8 ball, he can just nudge them and open them. He has to be picking off what's there, and straight away he's got himself out of line again, putting himself under pressure. And another one that's tough. He could cut the 11, which is tight, and he's got a sort of blind cut on the 1, and once again he's way off the mark, and that won't do. He has to be scoring. He's been in practicing for an hour or more, but he's just leaving himself out of shape. And if you're going to do that against Larry, Larry's going to eventually just pick you off. All Larry needs to do is just to pick off what's there and build up his score, and that puts more pressure on Mark. Now, was Larry looking for the gap there? He didn't quite get there. And he's got that very thin cut in the 1, on the, not the 1, the 11. And now if he gets it, the cue ball's coming down here somewhere. If he gets the pace right, he should be on the 6. Well, he's still got a shot on it. Well, Larry's looking for the thin one in the 9. Doesn't need to be too heavy, just needs to move them. Could have finished better than that. Once again, a choice. 10 ball into the middle's tight. Can run the 13 into the corner and then run across for the 6. And that's a better angle in the 6. Now he's looking, well, he would have to get pretty good on the 10 ball for a comfortable pot. If he finishes here where the donut is, he's got the 3 ball and can run through for the balls here. So that's why he's played it short to the middle pocket. Now if he gets this and brushes off the 10, he can run through and come out for the 8 or the 5 or the 15. So he doesn't need to hit this hard. Just needs to run through and follow the 3 ball through. Looks as if he's stunning it. Well, I didn't like that idea at all, but he's actually still got a cut in the 10, but I would have much preferred just to brush through and run around the corner, and I'm bound to be on one of those 3 balls. So now he's got the cue ball running all around the table here. And in the end, his run ends at 7. The Markshark has to be really gentle here if he's going to hold for any of those 3 balls. But he's got far too high an angle. And he also needs to watch the scratch if he's going to run down the bottom of the table here. Well, that's put himself in a heap of trouble, because he's looking to get the safety, and he might just look to lock onto that 15 ball. Well, he's played it not too bad. Caught the edge of the 8, but Larry will still be going for this. And already there's a pattern emerging where Markshark's yet to actually score and look as if he's going to be a threat. He's had a couple of chances, and when he's missed, he's been way off the mark. And I don't know, Larry played that with a lot of drag rather than playing it full-blooded and let the cue ball run around the table. So it's given Markshark a wee chance here. Now, is that 5 ball in the triangle? No, it's not. But it's too tight to the back of the pack to be a good break ball. Maybe best try to actually nudge this 5 ball if he can. Well, he's done that part of it, but forgot the 8 ball. So once again, it's only a single contribution from Markshark. Far too many misses early on here. I don't know whether there's enough angle there for Larry to do an awful lot with this. He's going to have to force this in, try and stun that cue ball. And he's caught the corner of the pack, but he's landed on nothing. He may well, excuse me, can he squeeze that 10 ball? Yes, he can. Very tight. It is extremely tight, looking at it past the 15. And Larry didn't like it, so he may well have played the pot there, but in the end he's losing a point. But he's left it reasonably safe. And he's also got Markshark a dilemma here to try and hide that 10 ball. Well, that's weak. Should have tried to get that cue ball into the pack there. And Larry, well, he can go full-blooded if he wants. Try and cut this 9 and run the cue ball into the pack. And he's cueing over the pack, but he's still got a shot in the 10 ball. But even if he pots the 10 ball, I don't think he's going to be trying to do an awful lot with the cue ball. He'll have a long shot on either of those two balls that are just below the cue ball. You look at where they are, we've got the 13, the orange 13 I think it is, and the 7. Well, I haven't seen any chat come up on the screen, so I assume nobody's watching. And I also assume that my chat is working. But I haven't seen anything come up. So Larry's lead is building up slowly but surely, and little contributions. He's going to have a shot in the 15, but not an awful lot more after this, unless he does something. Well, he tried his best here, and he's got a shot. Oh, he's sent that away to the jaw. Well, here's an unexpected chance for Markshark. Now, if you look at that 7, which he should already have done, the 7 goes into the middle. It's tight, but it does go, so he doesn't need to do anything with the cue ball. The 14's at the back end here, but that 7 ball goes into the middle or into this corner. Yeah, I've definitely got my chat showing on screen, so it's definitely working. I've double checked it again. And that's finished in probably the worst place it could finish. Well, that is a no-no. Yeah, much better to take the foul than do anything hasty. So Markshark's on 1 foul, and Larry can put him under pressure here. And he's done that. So that's now going to put pressure on Markshark, because if he plays another one where he doesn't hit a rail and doesn't get it safe, Larry's going to win the safety battle. You need to excuse me, folks, I'm still recovering from another cold. Well, that's loose. He's left Larry a fairly easy starter, although he's maybe hampered over that 4 ball. And Larry's looking for alternatives, and I don't think there's much else easier than what he's got. And I think he's on the 3. Oh no, it's tight. And he's looking at the combo as well. That 7 and 4 looks pretty good as a combo. There's a little gap between them though when you look at it from here. But Larry won't be doing that. And already there's a bit of a crisis here for Markshark. Larry on 32, still at the table. Markshark on only 13. And the gap is building. And it's now 20 points. Now these two balls, the 4 and the 7, the 7 is just on the edge of the triangle, and again it's very tight as a break ball. Now the big question is whether the 7 will remain there or whether it'll actually come down onto the break spot. Let's have a look. No, it's okay. You see, the problem with it is it was very tight to the pack, so Larry's going to have to try and go around the corner and into the end of the pack. Well, he's nudged the corner and needs a little bit of luck, and that's nice, because now he can break them with the 12. So this is now looking good. Once again, that cue ball just catches the corner of the pack. That's the best way to try and break the balls. And now, well, there's one ball definitely on. Into the middle. Larry's looking at the 11. Well, if he just kills the cue ball or comes back about an inch, then he's on the 11. He's got a choice of the 2 into the middle. Now, what's the angle like here? Well, he's going to run into those 2 balls in the end rail there. Needs a bit of luck though. And he's missed it. And again, the mistake has been made. It's now down to Markshark to try and get something on the scoreboard. And this looks a fairly straightforward combo. But he's got to get to double figures here with this visit. And taking a risk. Cue ball could have ended up anywhere, but it's ended up pretty good. Now all of these balls don't need moving. It's the only thing that should be moving here is a cue ball. Nothing needs to be touched. And he's got a break ball as well. Well, he's got a choice of break balls. So take the 8 and get rid of the 15. Now this here could go wrong if he runs into one of those balls. He has to try and find a gap if he can, or just run in behind them. Well, he's going to leave the 1 into the middle or the 5 down the bottom. And don't forget, this is the problem ball here, because this is doing nothing. So he has to find a way to get to this 10 ball. Now he's got an opportunity off the 9. If he hits the 9 firm, he can get up the table for the 10. But he's left it short. He's on the 14. But has to be thinking about this 10 ball. It's no good where it is. And he's got rid of one of his break balls as well. So now he's left with a 6, which is quite away from the pack, and a 5 as well. But either of them are break balls if he can get good on them. Well, Looks as if he's going to be taking a 5. So this is all about pace. Got to get back and good on this 6 ball. Well, I don't know what he tried there, but that certainly wasn't the shot. I mean, he's running forward and a fairly straight shot. The cue ball had nowhere to go. And it wasn't the shot. He had to play that with draw to come up the table to get on that 6. So once again, the contribution's only 8. Larry's not got a good break ball. That's the only saving grace here for Markshark. Not an awful lot he could do there. So just, well, he might risk the 11. It's very, very tight. In fact, it won't go anyway, so just to safety, get that cue ball into the back of the pack. And he's got Marskshark in trouble. So Larry moves on to 44. Marskshark 21. But he needs to get another contribution on the board to get himself into this match. And once again, the safest place is in behind the pack. You've got to watch the contact on the object ball here. Now, what's he doing here? What the hell's he doing here? Well, that was very ambitious, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It was a good safety. He could have called the safety, but called the shot just in case it went in. He wasn't going to be on in. And good evening, thank God somebody's here. Happy New Year. And you've got another 6 days to arrange your match with Semi-Pro. So this is all about touch, and that was way too heavy, and he's, I think, left a shot here for Larry. Let's have a wee look. Yeah, you've just caught a cold. I'm just trying to recover from one. I'm all blocked up and deaf in one ear again. Yeah, I don't think Larry could hit that hard enough to get the cue ball through. Now there's a possible combo there now. That looks as if it might be going to about the jaw, that 12 ball. But can he get to the 1? Is he going to call a 4 ball combo? It looks like it. It looks like it. Nudge the 15 onto the 10 onto the 1. And that looks as if it's maybe going to the jaw. If it just brushes the jaw, it'll go in. Oh, he's went the other way. I never even looked at that option. I'm too busy looking at the 4 ball combo. How's his luck? Well, I've had two colds in the space of 3 months. And the worst thing about it is on Christmas Eve when I finished, or was it? I think it was it the day? I'm trying to remember whether it was Christmas Eve. I think it might have been the day before Christmas Eve, because I don't think we were working that day. I started to get a sore throat, and then of course I spent Christmas Day, Boxing Day, in my bed most of the time, filling myself full of stuff to try and actually get myself recovered enough to get back to work. So anyway, Larry's back in, and the score's building up again, and Larry's halfway home. He's now on 50. Excuse me. And everything here for the taking. 6 ball is a possible break ball. 8 ball could be a break ball as well. Well, you'll know if it's flu because you'll be laid up in your bed. You won't be able to get out of your bed. The flu lays you out flat. That's different from a runny nose. So Larry getting rid of the 2. And it'll be the 8 ball next. And then what looks like the 10 ball. Let's have a look. Yep, that's a 10. Now he could go, well he's looking at the 7 first. He could go the 10 and go around and come on to the 7 that way, and then he can get good on the 6. Larry's got different ways of doing things from the way I see some of the shots, but that'd be the way I'd be doing it. 10 ball and run around the angles, get the pace right and get good in the 7. He doesn't want to be stuck to the rail. That's the worst place he could be. And now he's got a problem. But he can still do the same thing. He can squeeze the 7, lots of top, and a bit of right English and come around the angles and get out. Well, Larry's putting plenty of right English on it. Now, how's his pace? That needs to keep going. It needs to keep running, and that is not bad. There are worse places than that to finish. And now he's going to have to get a good stun on this, because he might be going into the side of the pack there, and he might end up in nothing. Lots of power. And that's why he's missed the 6. So once again, Larry's contribution is more or less double the visits that Markshark's making, which is why he's stuck in 21. Now, he's got a good opportunity here, but he has to really be thinking about what he's doing, and I'm not seeing a great deal of evidence of that so far. You see, if I mean, my thought process looking at this table, I'm immediately thinking, right, get rid of the 5, get rid of the 6, and you see, he's trying to do things that are unnecessary, and that's where he's going wrong, because he's very easily going to get out of line. It looks good because he finishes on a ball, but it's not the way to play it. You have to pick them off and then pick the right time to start moving balls. He's got all these balls to pick, and he's trying to do too much. And that is not going to help your game. And he's now in a position where he's got choice of balls. So you take the 3 and you run through and get rid of the 6. And then you can get the cue ball back up the table here for the 11 or the 13. Well, now he's finished on the 6. So he's got roundabout ways of doing it, but that first choice of shot was not the shot. And once again, he's trying to get into the pack when he doesn't need to yet. And sooner or later, he's going to end up with nothing. And now he's got himself a tough shot over the couple of balls for the 14, and that's why he's missed. See, the visits ended far too soon, and he's only scored 5. If he asks himself where he's going wrong and at the end of the match, there's an incident there, a sequence of shots that can just tell you exactly where he went wrong. You've got to get your patterns right, and natural instinct for anybody who plays pool or billiards would tell you the pattern to take. It's much better to get the scores on the board rather than trying to achieve too much, and Markshark's got it all wrong. That visit there could have been easily another 10 balls if he played it right. And it won't help his cause, because Larry's the type of player who will take his time and think out about what he's doing. Now there's 4 balls there for Larry to take. He could be aggressive and try and run into them off this 3 ball. But if he can get a good answer, he's finished dead straight. He might be able to squeeze a wee bit of angle. And there is a possible combo there as well. That 4 and the 2 ball. He might just come back and try and play the 4 and the 2. Well, he's got that. The 12 goes as well. Well, that's handy because he's certainly going to move balls now. And Larry just doesn't need to. Larry doesn't need to care. He just needs to pick off what he can, and then if he can't get anything, just leave it safe. Because all the time he's just building up his lead. He's now in 61. He's getting no pressure put on him from Markshark, and you know, Larry just has to just do the business. That one ball, nowhere near good there, but Larry could take the 15 and get the cue ball out into the table and get rid of the one. But quite happy just to pick off what's there. Quite right as well. He doesn't need to be worrying about trying to keep a run going. He just needs to keep things safe and tight and let Markshark make the mistakes. And this is the thing with a lot of players. I mean, I don't play straight pool. You know, I don't ever play it as a regular in VP4. I never really have done. But at the same time, I try and use my common sense to play it right and pick off what's there and make the right move at the right time rather than trying to be over aggressive. I think a lot of guys are obsessed with just trying to get a big long run at every opportunity they can, and when you're trying to win a match, that's not the way to play it. The whole idea is you score and you stop your opponent scoring. And Markshark, my advice to you is you need to get your strategy worked out, but it's maybe too late for that. Trying to do far too much on that last visit. Made 3 wrong moves, I think, one after the other, and in the end blew his chance. And meanwhile, Larry on 66 has made another mistake, and he might have got away with it. Look at where the cue ball's finished, and he's Markshark's in absolutely nothing, and he's going to have to stick this cue ball onto that 15. He can punch the one away and just lock the cue ball onto the 15. Well, it doesn't seem a difficult shot. He just has to get the pace right and kill the cue ball. If he locks it onto the 15, Larry's got nothing. And I don't know, he shouldn't be looking at anything as an attempted pot. And now this is dangerous, because if he doesn't get the pace right here, he's just going to come out into the open and leave Larry an easy 11 to start with. Well, why he isn't playing the kill shot in the 1, I don't know. I can't see him leaving anything on. Well, you know, he's put himself under pressure again playing the foul. Because Larry's going to do what I'm talking about. He's just going to punch the 1 away and kill it onto the 15. So now Markshark's in trouble. See, again, strategy is leaving a lot to be desired, and it's going to cost him dearly. And now he's going to probably feel pressured into playing the bank in the 14. Because if he plays that, he's now in 2 fouls. And Larry can stick him and just play the deliberate foul in the 15, and Markshark's on 2 fouls. And if he plays a 3rd foul, he'll lose another 15 points. Now, I don't know whether, I presume Larry's thinking, I don't know whether he's realised that Markshark's on 2 fouls. Now, Larry is being aggressive here. He's going for the bank. And the only reason he's going for the bank is because he's getting nothing in return off Markshark. And in it goes. And now he's got everything there waiting for him. And Larry on 67. And by the end of this, he should be on 80 odd. And he's also got a good break ball there as well, which he's probably inclined to leave where it is. That 2 ball is perfect for the break ball. And he doesn't want to be moving that, I don't think. I think that's more or less what he's got his eye on here. Now Larry can drop onto the bottom rail, get rid of the 4. That would seem to be the right shot to play. Well, he's left that a wee bit short. You want to get that a wee bit closer to the rail than that, so now he's looking for alternatives. He could end up rolling the 5 in to the top right and then taking the 11 into this bottom right hand corner, the 11 ball on the right rail. Well, he's looking at the 1, either or. At some point he's going to have to deal with these 2 balls at the bottom end anyway. Now this is perfect. Larry just rolls the 3 in, and he's in behind the 7 and the 6, and he's got a choice of those 2 balls to get rid of them. And he'll probably play the little draw off the 7. I don't know whether he can draw it tight enough just to actually keep himself on the 6. A delicate little draw, doesn't want to get too much beef into it. I don't know whether he can avoid hitting that 6. That's maybe the worry. So if he takes he's got an alternative. He can take the 11 and take the 4. As long as he's got an angle in the 4, he can still drop back up for the 6 or the 7. I think he's maybe worried about where the 6 ball's going to end up. Well, you see, that's the problem. He's just created the problem there. And he's now locked up 2 balls, and his break ball is still there, but the 6 ball is in the way. And that's a good shot. That's an excellent shot, because that now can get rid of the 6. But he's going to have to put a lot of top, a lot of spin, and get right around the angles, I think. Is he playing the draw? In fact, if he went forward, he probably would scratch. That's a danger as well, to try and get down for this 4. So the thinner cut in the 2 is more risky. But as I say, under no pressure, might as well go for it. Well, he's left himself short again. And the 4 ball is fairly tight to the rail. And that will do. Once again, with this type of shot, you don't want to have too much top in this cue ball, because you can brush straight off the pack into the corner and follow the 6 ball in. The scratch is always on. Now, how's he finished? Well, that will do nicely. And he's now on 81. The run goes to 15. and he's got a whole stack of balls to choose from. He's just going to thread his way through these. Well, Markshark saying in the chat that he's too unlucky at this game. Well, I think if he was listening to what I was saying, he'd maybe realise he's not unlucky. He's made some wrong choices, and he's not scored when he's had those chances, and that's the fatal mistakes that you make in straight pool. You've got to score, and you've got to prevent your opponent scoring. But this is all down to Larry's hard work. He got the break ball, got on a ball, and he's now in 87, and the run goes to 21, and he's broke out those two in the side rail. And if you look at these remaining balls, he doesn't need to move any of them. He's got an angle here on the 7 to do that. That would actually be another break ball, believe it or not, but he might take the chance here just to nudge something. Doesn't really need to move a great deal here. Well, I think he tried to draw into the 11 to leave the 5. He's still got a shot though. We need to look at this side here, because there's not a lot on. He's on the 10. That little nudge onto the 5 there has just held him on the 10. So that's a wee bit of good fortune. And the 2 ball might end up being his break ball. So Larry is now in 91, and Markshark, well, he's way back in the distance. Only got 24 points. And that's nice pace. So the 2 ball looks like it'll be the break ball. So Larry just needs to get, well, depends what he wants to do. He can come off the rail and come back that way, or he can go around. As long as he gets the cue ball somewhere like that, that needs to go a bit more. That's way short. So he's left it thin for comfort's sake. And he's going to have to maybe play this with a bit of inside English to check the cue ball off the rail into the pack. See, this is what happens when you run into the side of the pack. But has he got a shot in that 7? No, I don't think he has. I don't think he can get to the potting angle. So he can just punch the 7 away and just kill the cue ball and leave Markshark nothing. And that is exactly what he's done. And so Markshark's next mistake is going to cost him the match. Larry now on 95 after that run of 29. And the scratch and ball in hand. And Larry, what the hell happened here? Oh, it was 18 points. That's what it was. That was the 3 fouls. So Markshark's now down to 5. So I was wondering what happened there. I'd lost track. So it's a lost cause. Larry just picking off the 3 balls now that he needs. I think he's maybe a bit straight in the one, but spin around the corner. He's got the 7, and he can go around behind the pack and come back out for that 15. so that will clinch the match. And I think that's the first 3 fouls I've seen in a straight pool match. Well, he can get the 8 ball. So this for the match. Well, you're welcome. I think you're the only one that was watching it anyway, Dizzle. I don't think anybody bothered their ass. So we'll look at the bracket before we go. Oh, Larry's missed that one. And Markshark can pot the 12, and if he gets a nice angle in the 8, he can open up those balls. But you see, once again, he's trying to open the balls off the wrong ball. You know, he had a much better opportunity to try and open them off the 8 if he can just get himself through far enough, which he could have. And even that shot was just the wrong choice. We've got 5 silent people on YouTube, have we? Well, thanks for watching anyway, guys. Let's say before we go, we'll have a quick update on the bracket, and we'll see where Larry is sitting. So this 3 ball for the match, and Larry comfortably wins by 100 points to 7 and goes through to the next round. So well, Markshark's got an awful lot to learn. That's all I would say. Now, where are we? Larry's down here somewhere, isn't he? So Larry's through, it's updated. And he's through to play Snake Eyes, who I'm fairly certain would give Larry a much more stern opponent in his next match. Who did Snake Eyes beat? Oh, Snake Eyes beat Vince's by 100 points to 87. So it was a close run thing there, but I would expect Snake Eyes to put up a much tougher opponent than what Markshark has done tonight for Larry. So as I say, there's a lot of matches still to get played, and there's one main match that we're waiting to see between Dizzle and Semi-Pro, but that's going to be a wee while yet before that gets organised. So until then, folks, thanks for your company, thanks for watching, have a happy new year, and we will see you again at some point, no doubt, and good night to you.